Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast, hosted by Mhkeeba
and Brittany, two former NFL cheerleaders discussing hot topics in the pro cheerleading industry
and revealing the truth behind the Poms.
Hi. We have to have one normal way of starting an episode one day.
Probably never.
Not today.
Welcome in.
We're just wonderfully awkward, and it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm. We've had a crazy week, huh?
It's been wild, so wild. But we have a very, very cool episode. We feel a little like we need to be on our P's and Q's because we're actually talking to a boss.
Yes, we are.
That is the name of the episode. Burch from the Portland Trailblazers dance team. I believe her official title is the performance team's manager.
Which is super cool.
Yeah, which
basically, she directs all of the performances.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Because they have a separate team, I believe, of male dancers, the kids that come in. So she's got a lot on her plate, and she's agreed to talk to us, so we're very pumped.
She choreographed for us when we were on Seagull. She came
did.
through and taught us the most insane routine. I think.
Skeet, 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 skeet.
Yes, it was that song. We'll have to ask her if she knew that was in the lyrics and was okay with it.
We might have to. She knew because that move was
very suggestive to the lyrics.
I love her. Choreography was so fun.
It is.
They always have the badass choreography. I mean, if you're following them on Instagram, they post a lot of their routines, and it's just like all NBA dance teams, but Portland brings it a little extra.
For sure.
Maybe partial. We don't have an NBA team, so it's Portland for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same.
Cheer chat before we get into it with Michelle.
Yeah, let's talk about the diversity survey that you created.
Oh, man.
People are submitting answers.
People are submitting their responses, which is so, so awesome. I think it might be helpful to give people a better understanding of, one, all of the data is going to be anonymized, which means that no names are shared. It's not like these people participated. It's really just, at the end of the day, we're collecting demographics for, Black, African American, Latina, Asian, other, if you're mixed race. I mean, there's so many people who are little mutts, and that's perfectly fine. But really, we're doing a grand total of, out of all the cheerleaders in the NFL and NBA, what percentages are of minorities, and that's really how the data is going to be presented. So thank you to everybody that's been submitting responses so far. It's been very helpful. Again, we're just looking for your names, so because a lot of the data has already been collected, so we just want to make sure we designated you properly. And we are wrapping that up with our season finale. We're almost done.
We are. We're almost done with season 2. It's crazy. It flew by. I was looking at the calendar today, and I was like, wow,
we only
3
have
more
a couple
interviews.
More episodes.
And
it's over.
It's over. Just for a little break, and then we'll be back in April.
What do you guys think?
So
tell us what you think, listeners. We took a break after season 1 because it was right around the holidays, and we were still trying to figure out what the hell we were doing. It was a chance for us to figure out what we really wanted to do with the next season. But should we take a longer break, 4 weeks, or should we shorten it? We have a lot coming up, and our trip to DC is actually during the break, which might be kind of good.
Right.
But we're thinking of taking either a 2-week break or a 4-week break, depending on
what you guys think. Yeah, we're pretty flexible.
Yeah,
so
there's going to be a lot with all of the auditions and teams changing. So maybe we need the dust to settle a little bit and then start.
It's a good idea. Yeah. So we'll see.
Let us know if you have thoughts. If you'll miss us too much, then we'll just, we'll keep it coming with the content.
All it takes is one person saying shorter break, and it's going to happen. So let us know. But if you need a little break from us as well and trying to catch up on episodes, that might be the time to do it, because
exactly.
I have a lot of family and friends who are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm so behind.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe it'll give them time to listen. And
people are auditioning, so you've got stuff going on. Mm-hmm. You're focused, you are practicing.
Sitting on the toilet.
Definitely getting it together. So yeah, podcast would definitely take the ultimate back seat. But we are excited to keep going. We do have lots of ideas already for season 3.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. But we are closing out season 2. Again, it's our diversity episode. We have a great interview as well from Takoya Harris, who is the creator of Black Girls Cheer on Instagram. I know a lot of ladies follow her.
That's my favorite page to follow.
Oh my gosh,
she just highlights the girls so well.
And all of the Black History Month, a lot of the squads were doing poses with all of their girls, and it was just so empowering to see. Again, I just think it's just gotten better and better each year, and the representation and just the promotion of just everyone.
Right.
And it's been beautiful to see. So we're excited to talk to her for our season finale.
We were going to talk to someone about unionizing.
Yes.
Is that for next season?
That is going to be next season. I mean, things have died down. It's been a tumultuous year, I think, last year for pro cheerleading, pro dance. And I think what we've seen, all of the hot topics, all the articles of all the horror stories of how dancers and cheerleaders were treated, I mean, it's kind of quieted down. But I think...
Why is that? Why haven't we heard any updates from the outrage and the Instagram posts and, removal from the teams? It's kind of weird it happened.
I just think there might have been some soul searching this past season. And I would have a hard time believing that every legal team did not start to pay attention to rule books and trying to figure out like what changes needed to be made so that they weren't on the next news page.
Right.
So I think that they had to do some examining and flip the script real quick. Let's hope that it got better for everybody out there. But, I think it starts from the top, which is why I'm so excited to talk to Michelle. It all starts at the top as to how you lead your program and inspire your team. And, I mean, Roisha spoke so highly of Michelle. I mean, we had a great impression of her, obviously, coming in and kicking our butts at practice. But she sounds like she runs an awesome program. So I'm excited to hear all about her and how she leads everybody down in Portland.
Yeah, same.
There must be something in the water in Portland. When you think about it, I mean...
So creative, and there's so many like dance programs down there. It doesn't even matter if you're pro, semi-pro, or whatever. There's just so many outlets for dance, which is really interesting to me. I don't know why. I figured Seattle would have the same amount or more, and we don't. Actually.
I know. What's up?
I don't know.
Well,
we're going to find out.
We sure will. And hopefully it will inspire everybody else to get it together.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, did you see that the Rosebuds had their
reunion alumni performance?
So many ladies.
50 of them, and that wasn't even all of them.
That's crazy.
Super crazy. It's super cool.
Such a fan now.
Yeah.
Hi, girls. No, I'm kidding.
They are awesome.
Oh my gosh. Okay, did we have any other cheer chat to get to?
Seattle's hockey team that's coming in 2021.
Yeah.
They're getting a dance team.
They are.
So get excited about that. Some inside scoop. I reached out and they responded and said, send me your resume and cover letter. And I have yet to do that because I am not qualified.
Oh my gosh.
I was trying to convince Mhkeeba to run it and I would just be her little sidekick like I am with the podcast. And she was like, no. But you guys, more dancing's coming to Seattle.
Which is great. We're not getting an NBA team anytime soon, so we might as well.
Yep.
Do it up.
And if you have any questions when you become director, whoever's out there, or a dancer, Rosebuds are a good resource because they're like the first to do the spikes on the shoes. So
pioneers. We are going to kick it over to our interview with Michelle. We'll see you on the other side. Well, we haven't officially even met.
I know.
She's
like,
I feel like I know
trying to pick up my choreography and
No, I just remember seeing you both, and I'm a fan of dance and dance teams, so I follow lots of dancers individually, but also just I follow the Sea Gals. Since I started kind of checking things out, I'm always willing to learn from other programs and that stuff, so it's good.
Much
again.
Thank you. We are so excited to talk to you, and so I'm probably cheesing my butt off here, but
oh, good! I love it. Me too. I'm excited. I think what you guys are doing is so cool. It's so interesting and funny. I coached Liesel. I know you guys talked to her recently, and I saw her before you talked with her, before you guys came into town, and she was talking about your podcast. It's just funny. It came up in conversation, and she was like, It's so cool. They're so smart, and the podcasts are really interesting. And so I just thought that, it's just positive feedback from other people. I respect her a lot, too. So
she's
fun.
amazing.
She is amazing.
And depending on the squad that you're assigned to, I mean, sometimes you just won't ever really get an opportunity to get to know the girls more. And
football, right? It's so different.
Yeah.
Well, that's weird for me. It's almost weird. Like, not like it's a wrong thing, but my team's so small in comparison, right? We're always all together.
Right. It sounded different even in talking to Roisha. It's like, you spend so much time and it's all of you together, not 4 different squads together. So it makes a huge difference in the bonding and everything. So, so glad we got to talk to her. And the feedback is just awesome because we're so excited and we wanted it to be very positive and uplifting. And do you mind if we call this episode Boss by Fifth Harmony?
I love that song. I don't know if I get to be boss, but I love that song. Yes, we opened to that one season. That was our opening night routine. So, love it.
Oh, perfect.
Yay.
Especially if it's boss, like, no, I'm just kidding. With the dollar sign, but not really.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Well, to kick things off, can you just tell us about, how long you've been with the Blazers and what all you cover in terms of responsibilities? Because your title is Performance Teams Manager, is that right?
Correct. Yeah. So I think it's interesting how, and I think it's that way or similar in the NFL, but I could be wrong, so you guys can correct me. But in the NBA, you'll see lots of different titles for sometimes similar responsibilities, sometimes a little variation from organization to organization. So I am the Performance Teams Manager. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
And with that title comes I coach the Blazer Dancers. So I directly manage and oversee that program. And then we also have the Blazer Stunt Team, which is a co-ed. I don't like to call them a cheer group because they kind of see themselves as different than cheer. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they use Poms, but mostly they're a co-ed stunt group. So they're doing partner stunts all the time. They're super athletic, as are the dancers, but differently athletic. They throw girls in the air. They do pyramids. They do that kind of thing. So I oversee that program, but that program has their own coaches. So I'm not an expert in what would be kind of formally a cheer, like an all-star cheer program. I don't have that technical background, but I have a performance group background in performing. And then we also have Trailblazers, another team. It's mostly an all-guy crew. We haven't had women in that group yet, but they're not excluded. We just haven't had any. They come maybe 8 to 10 times per season. They also have a team lead, so I just sort of manage and coordinate with them. Okay. And then this year, I think you guys are well aware, this year we introduced a new all-male hip-hop group.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really fun, called the Rip City Crew. So not a lot of people know about them yet. I mean, unless they're super intricately involved in dance teams are really interested. But they're a new group that we introduced, and I oversee that program. But they also have their own coaches. Okay. So I just get to work closely with them, especially.
Mostly like coordinating the groups coming in and what games they're going to perform at.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And I work with their coaches because this group, more so than the others, are directly interactive with the Blazer dancers. So we need to practice on the same day so that we can practice together. So I talk a lot with their coaches about song choices and choreography, like who we want to use that would work both for guys and girls, that will showcase both groups or complement each other. Mm-hmm. That was a kind of a dream I had. It was just something I wanted to try just to sort of change things up a little bit. So we're kind of figuring it out as we go, like, oh, this works really well, or maybe we should tweak this. This wasn't like the best way of going about this. And next year we hope to set it up this way. Here's some things that we learned. So we're hoping it'll be even bigger and better next year.
Wow. Yeah. Cool. Gosh, yeah. I'm just thinking, sorry if we jump all over the place, but.
Oh, no, that's better for me. That's better for me.
Games, though, I mean, because you have so many games during the season.
Yes.
And then, the different times that you guys perform, just keeping all of that straight in terms of who's going to come in and how to coordinate the practices, and that just made my head start spinning. Because even talking to Risha, we were kind of like, wait a minute, the practices, you had everything organized for each thing, like
ahead of time,
and
so sure. Well, we try,
yeah.
right? Like when I started out, I think I followed what I thought was a really strong lead, and I still do, with the coach before me. She was my coach and had still been there years after I danced. And so I think a lot of me starting was what I experienced, was trying to kind of do the same things I learned from. And that was great. It was a great start. I felt really good about that. And like I was offering things. And as the years went by, I realized like, oh, and maybe things that she was also doing, but I thought, oh, I need to give them a plan. We have a much more productive, positive practice when the dancers actually show up and know what they're doing versus arrive and like, okay, we're going to set this dance. And they're thinking, oh, shoot, I'm not prepared. I didn't work on that one this week, or I didn't think about that before I came. So I started sending out a monthly schedule, kind of listing out all the things we were going to do. And that seemed to help the dancers prepare and feel a little less stressed as they were coming in. And then it was also, right. And it was also really good for me because it made me think through everything that I wanted to do that month. Like, what kinds of routines do we need to do this month? And then how much time do we need to work on a certain routine? Maybe this one takes more hours of rehearsal because it's more intricate. And this one we can learn in an hour and do next week. And it just helped me plan too. And really get all my thoughts out instead of just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, which sometimes you feel like you have to do because it's moving so much. But the planning helped both the dancers and myself. So it's good for our program to do it that way.
Yeah, definitely. So were you a Blazers dancer?
I was.
Wow, cool.
Just a little while ago. No, I'm just kidding. A very, very long time ago. I danced for 6 seasons and I loved it. That's why I'm still connected. And I was fortunate to stay connected. I haven't even thought about, like, I left in 98 was my last season dancing. for the 98-99 season. And then I came back as a coach in 2008. Yes, correct.
Okay.
In 2008 as a full-time coach. So I did coach another team part-time. We had a hip hop group that was girls and guys what were we called? The Trailblazers Jam Squad. And that lasted for 3 years and then kind of went away. And then I took on this job. So it's just kind of different. But yeah, I was a dancer. So I know things have changed greatly, but I try to think about what it felt like to be a dancer, what kinds of things I needed to know, and remember how much fun it is. Like I like to remind them, as hard as they work, that really, like we always say, our job is not rocket science. It is not. It's entertainment. It takes a lot of hard work, but it's entertainment. And if at the end of the day you work on routines for 10 hours or however long and you're super stressed about the choreography, really it's about having a good time and you get out there and having a lot of fun. It should be fun. Not all stress, right? Like it should be fun. It shouldn't be
yeah, that's right.
right. And you're like, this is 5, 6, and 7, hit 8, and 1. Like it's all that stuff.
Right.
But at the same time, it's supposed to be a lot of fun and fun for the fans too, right? Fun for the atmosphere to add to it instead of like, they don't want to see the stress. We don't want to feel the stress from each other. We just want to be like, yeah, I'm here with my friends.
Right.
It's going to be fun. This is going to be a great routine. I'm going to feel really good about this when I walk away. So yeah, I try to remind them of that.
That comes across for sure in your videos. Like,
yay!
I'm always loving watching your guys' Instagram videos for sure. It's like my favorite team to follow.
It's the energy. I mean, when we compare NBA style to NFL, obviously, I mean, it's I think really big motions because of the the venues that we're dancing in. But just,
you guys have so many fans, right? So the arenas or stadiums are so large.
Exactly. But you guys just really own the court, and you feel the energy and I don't know. It's just something that definitely translates. You guys look amazing out there.
Well, that feels really good coming from other dancers, because that's one of the things I tell my team sometimes. And I laugh at myself, but I just always say, you guys always really good, but I'm so greedy. Like I just want to feel the fun, right? I want to feel it.
Yeah.
And I'm always asking them for more intensity, and they're probably like, I'm giving everything I've got. But I think that tipping point for me is that fun and that intensity is that we're not just doing a dance. Sure, we could just execute it. Like they could learn something in one practice and execute it the next day, but not as confidently as, 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, and with just so much more intensity and enthusiasm and showmanship and all those extras. I'm like, yes, that's it. It was just that little extra, just that little, like that little, what do you call it? I think we took from you guys like that head check, right?
Yeah.
You can just stand up or you can head check, and it's like, oh, okay. Yep, that's it. And everybody smiles. The girls are like, oh yeah, that felt good.
Yeah, I think Jackie posted a comparison photo, and she's like, Coach said more hip, and it was like the same dance, a photo from the same dance, and like in one she had like her hip way out, and she's like, I brought that extra hip. Like I just thought that was cute.
Yeah. It is totally
definitely bringing the performance aspect to, like you said, you can learn it and bring it, but are you really going to perform it? That's the difference.
Yeah. I'm greedy, and I only hold them to their own standard. So it's like but yesterday, this was amazing. How come we're, like, okay, it's December, we're tired, it's been the holidays, everybody's worn out, their bodies are sore. And I'm thinking, yeah, but in August, you gave me fire, when you learned the routine, and they're like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can bring that back, so it's like for all of us, like, where's that, energy back? And Jackie, that's so funny because I remember seeing that post and I'm like, can I get some hips on that walk? Like some attitude. And they're like, oh yeah, I don't have to just walk over there. That's also performing, So we laugh about those things. And I do say more hip or more this or more that. And they deliver.
Right.
I'm super lucky.
Makes your job easier.
It does.
Still blown away by everything that you're responsible for. Just crazy coordination. And so how much do you choreograph for the team?
That is a good question. I choreograph 0 for the team.
What?
Yeah, I love your faces. That's
no way.
Well, you came up there and kicked our butts.
I know, and I was like,
I know. Well, I'm glad that you liked it. And I love to dance and I love to choreograph. But with all the responsibilities that I have as part of Blazers, I don't know where in my day / week or weekend I would have time with all of the other things that I have to manage. So I'm super lucky to have a budget to bring people in. And we have 41 games in a regular season, 2 to 3 games in the preseason at home, a fan fest, and then any number of playoff games, right? So, and we do repeat routines, absolutely, but my goal is usually to do them not more than once a month, like in a calendar month.
Okay.
So that could mean we have 5 games and we need to do 10 routines, or we could have, 8 or 9 games. And so that's 8. So that's a lot of material. Ooh, By the end of the season, we usually know about 45 routines.
Whoa.
Right. Compared to how much in NFL do you think you guys did per season?
Well, we have little fillers and things like that.
That's okay.
It's
different.
Like the same routine to like 4 different songs back when we were dancing.
Oh yeah.
Right, okay.
Yep. Our sidelines, we surprise the same dance with different songs.
Different music and kind of make it work. And the fans don't notice that, right? Like it works. And we just haven't done that, but we've talked about, like, we've done it for a holiday routine once or twice, like, because we've just run out of time. But mostly it's all new material. Now, there are times when we're like, we are in such a crunch. We have 1 practice and 4 games coming up. Then we may repeat something from the beginning of the month just to get through. Mm-hmm. But we try not to repeat more than once a month. So that's a lot of working.
Spoiled season ticket holders. Good.
Yeah.
Super, right? You want to put on a good show for them all the time. But it means that we need lots of other choreography. So we go to camp. We host our own camps usually twice a year. And we just kind of call them a mini camp, where we just take a whole weekend, maybe Friday through Sunday, and learn, I don't know, it depends. At the beginning of the year, we try to learn like 15 routines in a weekend. And that's not every single, I know, that's crazy. It sounds really crazy, but we kind of have a really good, what I think is a really good system. The dancers work their butts off, no question. Yeah. But each individual dancer doesn't have to learn all 15. We break up into groups.
Oh,
and
cool.
then, right. So like group 1 will learn a routine at the same time as group 2 and 3. We record them and then we move on. We just kind of let it go for the rest of the weekend. So we're
each group's learning 5 and then they share.
Maybe 5 or 8. Or it just depends kind of on how. Sometimes 20. Yeah. Right. So sometimes they're in 2 groups. Sometimes they're in 3 groups. It just depends on how many choreographers we have and when people are available to teach. So we kind of move it around and try to keep it not too overwhelming. But, camp can be overwhelming. Yeah. It's really hard on your body. It's a powerful weekend, and then we take a rest, right? And then we come back
probably like tops 8 for all of us at camp, our weekend camp. We would learn probably like 2 or 3 big features and then like some fillers. So that's woo. I'm sweating just thinking about you guys.
Right. But you guys, I think your fillers are I don't want to say much bigger than ours. I think our team, different than other NBA teams, sometimes we have combos that would be fillers that we would use for a hot timeout. But in NFL, you dance the entire game. And for us, there's nowhere to stand and perform. So we have what would be equal to your feature, I think, when we actually get to go out and dance on the court twice a game. And then the rest of the time is more of a hot timeout. So they kind of go out and freestyle. So we don't have to learn as many fillers, right, because everybody's because we're not on the field the entire game like you guys are. So there's a lot of other things that you have to learn and coordinate than we do, per se, because years have gone by and dancers aren't allowed to be on the court. There's no room. There's safety, so they're kind of off to the sides. You'll see that when you visit, but most NBA dance teams kind of have a different place in the corner or in the stands, or like it's different in every arena. But there's not a lot of room to stand and dance.
Yeah.
When you danced on the team, was it the same way, or did you guys stay out the whole game?
We stayed out on the court. We actually sat on the court, kind of where you see camera people, so we could get up and dance more often. It was easier because we were right there, but we had to sit so that people could see the game over us. So still, unlike you guys, we weren't dancing the entire time, but we were a little bit more out in the open.
Still on for the whole game.
It gets tiring, and it sucks when they don't play enough music during the game, frankly. I mean, especially because it's cold or raining on you, and you just kind of like play something so I can dance and not just stand here with my hands on my hips. And try to look pretty when I'm, looking a hot mess.
Right, or feeling like it anyways, right?
Yeah. So auditions are coming up, especially for NFL. I know you guys hold your auditions in July, but can you talk about a little bit like your approach to selecting the team and the qualities you look for?
Yeah, I can try to explain. We do usually host our auditions in July, and I try to run the auditions kind of similar to what a dancer would experience on our team. And I've heard a lot of times people say, oh, that's why we had to learn something quickly and turn around and perform it, because this is what we really do on the team, you know, or someone who's coming from a high school dance program or a college program where they don't have to learn quite as many routines, would kind of go into that audition process thinking, you know, I have we're going to learn one dance for the entire weekend and I'm going to be great at this 1 minute, you know, like just all these different approaches coming in. So if I were giving advice, I would say, in addition to being a trained dancer, which sometimes we have dancers who aren't as trained, they're just really talented and they kind of just figure it out. But in addition to technical training, which is great, I would say try to be a good learner. I always tell people that work on your learning and preparation, because if you can learn fast, then you have a much better chance of executing well in the audition process. You won't be so stressed out about, oh, we just learned this jazz routine or this jazz combo, I have to perform it, and then I don't get to do it anymore. But the next day you're thinking, ooh, I'd be so much better if I could do that today. But we're not looking at that anymore. We're done. We're over that. We're learning the hip hop combo or whatever, right? So for me, I look at a lot of things, and I would imagine other coaches do, but I try to be super open about it. I am looking for dancers to learn and execute choreography quickly, not necessarily perfect, but quickly and comfortably, right? But then I also tend to watch how people enter the room, how they enter the gym where we're having tryouts, how they treat each other, which I'm not like, you know, sort of following people around and asking questions, but you can kind of tell when
you get a vibe.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. You totally get a vibe, right?
Yeah.
Just good energy. Because you think about, like, I'm sure in the NFL, your season is really long. You work really hard, and we do too. We start in August. We go through April, May, potentially one day June. We hope that we're in the playoffs, you know, and you have a lot of work to do together. So you're looking for a good employee. Yeah. Right. Like, it's not just a dance team. It's a job. It's a job. And so I'm paying attention to all those things, how people treat each other when they're learning and when they're hot and tired. And they just kind of want to go crawl in the corner. I'm like, oh, look, she's not so nice anymore. Right. She's like pushing people out of her way. And, you know, so I try to I used to teach auditions. When I first took this job, I taught the first 2 or 3 years maybe. And then I thought, I'm missing out on training so much because I'm turning my back and worried about choreography. And now I just sit there for 8 hours. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, and kind of look at applications and look at people. And I'm not as concerned with someone saying, oh, I've danced for 20 years and I'm classically trained. And I mean, the person next to them could have danced for 2 years and just wow you. So it doesn't, we ask for that because we want to see, so that we make sense of where you're coming from, but you're not judged just because you've danced for 2 years or just because you don't have formal training, or it's really just about how you execute. So to me, you have fun. You learn material, you execute quickly, and if you make a mistake, you recover. You just recover and keep performing instead of leaving or sort of losing your expression. You know, you just kind of keep going and think, oh man, okay, I'm going to just keep going. There's a lot of, I feel like people are drawn to that. Judges are like, oh wow, what just happened? I think she messed up, but look, or they look great, you know, they're looking great out there. So who cares? I don't even realize they mess up, you know. Right.
So fumble up and then totally catch on and like bust out a trick and like kill it.
Yeah. Yes. Kill it. Just kill it. Just kill it. Please just kill it. Like, make me enjoy watching you. Right. And that's, you know, just having a good time. I think that just goes back to having fun again. And not being so in your head that you can't enjoy the moment. It's dance. It's dance team. Like performing and having a good time. It's not like lyrical performance but you know what I mean, which is valuable, but this is sports entertainment performance, so this is fun. This is all fun.
I think we talked to Marisha about the different rounds of auditions, but as it gets down to interviews, how do you conduct your interviews for the finalists?
We do, and I think our program has always done it like this, and I didn't change anything. We do like 10 to 15 minute individual interviews with the finalists. So if you've been on the team before, you don't have to do an interview because we already know you and have interacted with you. Anyone else who's a finalist and was not on the previous season's team comes in for a 10 to 15 minute interview. And we try to tell them, this is just a moment for you to get a chance to talk and tell us a little bit about yourself and show us how you would be at an appearance. You don't have to say, it's not a formal interview like going in to get an accounting job necessarily, right? You don't have to prove yourself on paper. We really just want to talk. We just want a 10-minute get to know you. And that's really all it is, a chance to talk and kind of get a sense and get a vibe of a person, and they can tell us a little bit about their dance experience. Sometimes people talk about their pets, sometimes, or their hobbies or other things, because those are comfortable and it makes them relax and comfortable. We ask them about that and what kinds of dance they like. And I mean, it's really simple, informal, really informal. We do bring them into the office just so that there's a good place and they kind of get to see, where things are. But otherwise, it's not a super formal experience. So, yeah.
Awesome. And you guys do it where you come back, right? And then you're called down like through the stadium if you make it?
Yes.
I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's tricky. We always are on the fence about it. But I think what's really valuable for me is when I have a new team selected, that we have an opportunity to be together instead of just posting it online, which some teams do and could also work. It's tricky. So we go into a big party suite in the arena. So everyone is there together. And then, so all the finalists, so however many people that is, 35, 36 dancers are all together. And then we announce on our big screen. So if you make it, it's like there's 17 spots remaining. And then Mhkeeba's picture comes up. And so you made it. And yay, I'm a Blazer dancer. My dreams have come true. And then you leave the room and go somewhere else where people start to come into the room one at a time. So you get to celebrate. And the only drawback is that some people come who don't make the team. Yeah. And so that is, we're never trying to embarrass anyone. We say that we don't show people. We used to do a TV show. We don't do that anymore. So we don't have to sort of show that people are not happy or that they're sad or disappointed about it. Like, it's a part of the process, but we try to communicate with everyone. I do individually, who wants feedback. I usually talk to everyone after that. I try any of the finalists that want more feedback about, what they could have done or what they should work on, if they want that feedback. If they reach out to me, I definitely follow up with them afterwards, because I'm not in that room. Yeah. I'm not in that room when it's over. Yeah. Right. Because I'm with the new team. So I can't there's only one me, so we can't have someone in there explaining at the same time as I'm greeting the new people. So I talk to everybody first, and then I leave the room and go to a different location.
So what's the turnover time from that point? Like, so they just finish dancing. Is it like a weekend later or just the next night?
It's a little bit different every year, but usually our finals are on a weekend, so a Saturday or Sunday. Just depending on the theater. And then we try to make our announcement. We're able to collect all the judges' scores. Some teams are able to do it right there. That just gives me nightmares, right? Like, it just gives me nightmares to think like, oh my gosh, like we need to add it carefully, right? You want to add those numbers carefully, not in a rush. So we try to do it like on Tuesday or Wednesday of the next week. So just a couple days. Okay. And sometimes we're usually ready by Tuesday, but sometimes our building is not available until Wednesday, or I think one year we had to wait till Thursday because of the way we do the process. We had to hold out rate. So people had to wait an extra day, which we apologized for. But we also, when we announced them on the big screen, we roll, I don't know, like a 30-second video of them dancing at finals.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So not only do we have to compile scores and select the team, we have to give people a chance to edit. We have to get those numbers, pull the right people, get them in order. So it's kind of like another event, another show that has to run smoothly. We have to rehearse that event so that everything goes in the right timing and all that stuff. So, but it's a couple of days later.
Yeah. See, we do it the same day. So finals are over and you're sitting in the hallway, like sweating. And then, an hour or two later, one year they messed up counting. And we were sitting there for quite a while. I mean, 4 hours is probably dramatic, but it seemed like a long time. Yeah.
Oh, it just makes my heart race thinking about it.
And I like how you do it. That's cool.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some advantages too, to getting to know right away. 'Cause you're just like, in the moment, and you want to know right then, like, I just did all this hard work. I just need to, I need to know. Right. But again, you get the advantage of everyone being together when you make it, so you can hug your friends and take a team picture and just kind of see who everyone is before you walk away. So we have to do a whole separate event to bring everyone back. but they're dressed different. They're not in uniforms. They're not in dance clothes anymore. It's just a different energy. I like the way you guys do it too. Just gives me anxiety.
Yep.
Talk about anxiety. You mentioned that you guys did a reality show.
We did. What
went to that decision, and then why not continue the anxiety fest of having cameras following you around?
It was set up right as I took the job. So when it was already set up, it was already in motion, and I'm not sure where the idea came from, or just maybe reality shows on TV. And it was through Comcast, and I think it was called Making the Sweet 16 because we had 16 dancers at the time.
Oh wow!
And I think that we did it for 3 years. I think it was 3 years that they did it, and then they just decided not to do it anymore from Comcast. So I think the show did well. It was fun, and they would air it. They didn't air it right away. They would air it leading up to opening night. So like there was a weekly episode. It was like an 8-week or 6-week show that they would run. But then we had to be a little bit different in how we announced the team because it was a TV show on top of, right? We needed our result, which is selecting our team, but they also needed a big sort of moment. So in those years we did, I don't know if you knew about this, but so 11 years ago we did where dancers would walk into a locker room and open a locker, and there would be a uniform in there if they made the team. But if not, yeah.
There's a bag of coal.
No bag of coal. I think it was just empty.
Right.
But there's a camera, kind of like you see on other shows, there was a camera inside the locker, so they would get your reaction, which could be joy or tears or, so that was tough as well.
Yeah.
It's a part of the process, and we just appreciate, we're a small market. And I've always felt like I really appreciate that dancers come out and try out for us. And many dancers come back, which we are thankful and grateful for because we're smaller. We only get to take 16, now 17 dancers. And I've said it the last few years for sure that all those finalists could do the job, but I don't get to have that many dancers on the team. Yeah. So it's really great when people continue to work hard and come back to us. And I always recognize improvement because we're small. And I think our finalists sometimes don't realize that, but when they come back, I know them all year. Once you're one of my finalists, it's only 35 people. I know everybody by name. I know where they came from. I know what their background is. I remember. And when they show up again and they've made any sort of improvement, they've danced more, I can see they're more confident, they're more skilled. I think, oh, okay. Like that's special. That doesn't mean people can't make it the first time. They always do. But there's something to be said for people coming back too. That means a lot.
That was our last episode we just did on Auditions for NFL, and we called it the episode Try Again. All of our episodes are song titles, but we
because you're dancers.
Oh yeah, we made it on our 4th try, and so
really? I didn't know that.
Kept making it to finals, and so
that's dedication.
Yeah,
I mean that is incredible.
Yeah. We wanted it.
Yeah,
we definitely wanted it. But like you said, just kind of doing stuff all year long to keep working towards the goal, even if it doesn't work out the first time or second time. And being able to show that improvement, it shows in your confidence level for sure, and probably in every way, just because it's like I've been here, I've kind of experienced it, I know what to expect, and look at me, like I'm better.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah, I'm better. Look at me. I'm here again, and I really want this. And it shows a lot about what your work ethic is and that you would work hard on the team and try to stay on top. I mean, it just says a lot in so many ways, I think. It just says a lot. I mean, it just makes a whole other statement for you just showing up. Yeah. When you're coming back. I love that. I did not know that about you guys.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah.
That's a lot. That just takes a lot. I respect that greatly. I really do.
And how many people come out for your auditions?
It fluctuates. It really fluctuates. There were some years, and I don't know. I'm no expert. I could just guess, right, what things are. When I tried out, there were 250 people trying out for dance teams but that's way forever ago. And then when I came back to coach, I think we had like 150 people try out. And in more recent years, it's been like 75 to 100 people who show up.
I would have thought it would have been so much higher.
Interesting. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm just kind of like, wow, trying to put it together.
Right. And I think, lots of friends around the league and the NBA have said that their numbers have gone down a little bit. I feel like in Portland, there's a lot more great opportunities to dance. So there's a semi-pro team, which you guys have seen, the Rosebuds. They have a great program. And there's other dance companies like Mixed Dance Company that specialize in adults. It used to be you came out of high school and you were a dancer and you would go to college and be on a dance team, or you would try out for the Blazer Dancers, right? And now I think, or you try to go to Seattle, right? If you were closer, you try to be a Sea Gal. But now I think you come out of high school, if you're not dancing in college on a college dance team, which there's more of those, more new programs popping up, strong programs at all the schools around us. But then also there's just other opportunities to dance as an adult. In the city, there's great dance studios that offer drop-in classes that fit with people's schedules. So I just think there's a lot more opportunities to dance, which personally I think is great.
It is.
You know, more people are getting to dance. We're not the only opportunity in town for an adult, right? So there's things that fit people's lives. Maybe our schedule is too much. Maybe there's too many games, too much, like it just doesn't work, but you want to dance. And so there's Life Dance Company and mixed. I mean, there's just all kinds of opportunities. I'm probably missing some because there's so many great things to do in the city. So I think that might be why, because people can specialize, what they really want to do and find a great fit for them.
It's NBA it's definitely demanding. My jaw drops talking to Roisha about the time commitment because, I don't even think I paid attention to how many games in the NBA there were per team, but just that alone and the home games, of course you're not traveling, but there's so many home games in a week at any given time that it's a huge time commitment.
We're coming off of a really busy stretch of time. But by the time we have our next home game, we will have had 3 weeks since our last home game, which is unheard of.
Oh, wow.
It's really unusual.
Busy, and then a long break.
Which we are thankful for as we get into this push towards, and everybody's resting their bodies a little bit, and we're still practicing, preparing for games that are coming up. But we all got to slow down a little bit, take a break, catch your breath a little bit. And then, because now when we come back, it's nonstop until the season ends, until the playoffs are over for us. So it is really busy. I mean, 2 practices a week plus, any week you could have 2 to 3 games. So you could be working 5 nights a week. It can be a lot.
Yeah.
So what's game day like for you in terms of preparation? I mean, as dancers, we all know what we'd have to do to prepare for game day and how long you have to be there in advance of the game starting. But for you, what's your game day like?
My job in particular, I'm a full-time employee. So I know some coaches are consultants or they work outside of the office or work from home. It's a little bit different. But for me, I work in the office. So I'm in the office just like any other day on a game day. Unless it's a weekend, of course, it's a little different. But typically I'm in the office doing things like payroll or ordering other uniforms or preparing my game night paperwork, which is making sure everybody's name is on the meal list and getting our music. Yeah, right. Everybody's going to eat. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to eat. I like that. Celebrate food. We're going to eat. Just kind of my regular daily responsibilities, setting up appearances or promotions, other things that are unrelated to the game. But then we have a court rehearsal on a game day 3 hours prior to tip-off. So I try to get downstairs before tip-off. I'm often the last one into the locker room, bringing down the stereo, and then we practice for about an hour. Usually our games are at 7, so our court practices are normally from about 4 to 5 o'clock. Okay. And we share the court at that time with the players. So so they're not usually in the center of the court, but they're on either end at the basket. So that could be the Blazers warming up, shooting around, just doing some workouts. And then whoever we're playing could be on the other basket shooting around. It could be 1 player, it could be 6. So you just never really know what's going to happen. So you don't always get to dance in your formation. I think that's the hardest thing for the dancers sometimes is they don't really get to be in formation. Often we do, but sometimes they don't. And so we run through our routines for the night and then we go back into the locker room. Sometimes we go over a couple notes. We missed a formation or we need to clarify an 8 count or go over our opening. And then everybody goes to eat.
Mistakes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys never have mistakes.
Never
seen
them.
Never,
oh my gosh.
Any fumble, nobody trips, nobody doesn't go to the right spot.
Insane.
Lovely.
Yeah.
We're lovely.
Practice made perfect. Seriously.
Well, I don't know, but we are human. I will say I'm not out on the court, so I'm not going to finger point. I think my dancers are amazing. I'm super impressed with them all the time. And I just go back to saying I'm greedy. So if I'm not really complaining, but if I'm saying, hey guys, let's let's work harder on this. It's really just about being greedy and trying to push them to deliver their best selves every time. Right. But we make mistakes. And we're bummed when we make mistakes and we want to do better, but I want that energy out there. I'd rather make an energetic mistake and overstep than for getting choreography, but we push ourselves. They push themselves to do their best. Yeah, I like that you don't see any mistakes. So good. So good. That means, you know what that means? That means we recover well.
Yeah, sure.
They recover well because they're human.
Yeah.
Human, you know, they're human, but they're working their butts off. That's for sure.
Well, to not be able to set on the court all the time. I mean, I know the games where we wouldn't be able to set around the Hawkhead logo on the field because of rain or paint being fresh. I mean, it rattles you a little bit. You know, you just kind of just hope that it just comes to you and you can feed off of everybody else in terms of your formation. Yes. But it's not always easy, especially if you guys are dancing in the dark, and I don't know how you do it, but.
Yeah, and it is different. And I think you guys get to practice at, your regular practices during the week are at is it Virginia Mason? Is that correct? Okay, so you have a field to practice on.
Right.
Our normal practices are in a dance studio.
Right.
So we don't get the court. So it's we really don't even get the court until game day. There are a few times throughout the month when the court is down that we can shift our normal practice from the dance studio into the arena so that we get extra court time, but it's not a given. You know, that's just not what we do. So we always take a lot of time with, and as you guys know this well, you can do your dance routine and it can be perfect, and then you get to the arena on the court and things have to change. And so I love the laugh, right? Things have to change in how you shift and transition to the next formation because now everything is bigger and you can't make it to your line or your window. And so now you're like, well, I used to travel forward on this transition, but now I'm actually moving to the side in order to make the formation work. So that's an adjustment day of. So they are constantly having to make those little things that seem small. Sometimes it's changing the choreography a little bit, but they're having to know this dance and then make these adjustments on how they move forward or back or side to side. And that seems minor to people who don't dance, but you guys understand.
Oh, for sure.
Because you think you just have something down and then you're like, wait, no, I have to change this one part. Now I have to move way over there.
Yeah, you train your
way over there. You know? It's like, wait, I only have 4 steps. Now I have to move 4 lines. Okay, I'm going to make that work.
I got this. I have short legs, but I got this. No,
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's our game day. Go for it.
Oh, no. I was going to ask, because we are doing our season finale on diversity in pro cheerleading, just to try to get, for the first time that we can find. I mean, we researched diversity in pro cheerleading, any articles or studies that would have been done, just to show what the state of the industry is. And so it's coming up in a couple of weeks, but I just wanted, Brittany brought it up, and I was like, I didn't really think about asking you, but it's probably good just to get your take on the state of diversity as you see it as being part of the NBA, how that influences the way that you lead the team.
I think, gosh, the state of diversity, that is so hard in this world today. In the world today, you know, it's hard to not just think about overarching things. I think that in our organization, diversity is important. Inclusion is important for everyone, not just people of color, but just in every way imaginable. It's important. And it's certainly important to me, obviously, because you can look at me. I'm an African-American woman. I'm very proud to be that. I'm also, simply a dancer and simply a performer and entertainer and have that background too. But it's important to me to show I'm really proud of the diversity in teams that I see. One of the things that I think is a challenge, and I can speak more to Portland, and I think other directors have similar challenges but different. But I think sometimes you look at a basketball team and you can see a great deal, or an NFL team, and you can see a great deal of diversity in the players. And then you look at the performers or the talent that comes in, and there's less diversity in the look of the outward appearance of those performers. And I like to say to people, because people will occasionally ask that question, how come there's not more X? How come you don't have this or that? And I always say the athletes are not a reflection of the city or the market that you live in.
Oh,
the
wow.
players,
thought about that.
They're not, right? They're top talent, and they're brought completely outsourced.
Yeah.
Perfect word. They're outsourced. They're brought in, and then the performers or the talent often is a reflection of the demographics of the city where you live. They are local. And I have a couple dancers from out of town, but not far. They're out of town from like Walla Walla, Washington, or Spokane, or so kind of in this area. They're not coming from Washington, D.C. to be on my dance team, right? It's not a full-time position per se, so people aren't moving all over the country to do that, unless maybe for Golden State, right? Because they're champions, and or Dallas Cowboys, right? Those people are moving. That's different. So we are much more a reflection of our city and what our city looks like in terms of racial diversity. But I love to see it. We've had years where we've been much more diverse than we are. But I also like to argue the fact that it's very valuable to me and important, and I see it. I'll never be that person that says, I don't see color. I see it. I see it. It is there right in front of me. I see it. But we also still take the most talented all around performers.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure.
So we do. I see it. I want it. But I want everybody to be prepared to do the job that we're asking them to do at the same time. So, when people say something like, oh, how come you don't have more African-American women? I can say, well, maybe 5% of the people that auditioned for our team were African-American women this year, not every year, this year. That is, or Asian-American women, or, whatever the person is asking. And then they say, oh, and I had a really good conversation with someone who emailed and said, I attended a game, whatever specific night. It was this game. I'm, of this cultural background. I saw no one representing this cultural background. I went on your website. I see that you have one, and I'm disappointed. And I called her, and she was like, whoa.
Oh, wow.
Right. She said, whoa, wait, you're calling me? And I said, yeah. I just want to share with you that we actually have two. You missed one. And you missed one when you looked at the website because they didn't fit, right? You just didn't see it. But just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? And also just kind of shared with her our experience and shared with her who I was, because she didn't know. And I just said, I want you to know it's important to me. This is who I am also. And it was a great conversation. And she was like, thank you so much just for even respecting my complaint. I was like, absolutely. I mean, it's important. I want you to know it's important. And if you come to a game again and these two people happen to be off, that doesn't mean we don't value inclusion, diversity, et cetera. So it's tricky. And I think a lot of things are going on in the world today. I think, we all know that. And I think we're all a little bit more conscious and sensitive to those things these days.
For sure.
So I respect that.
I appreciate you sharing. I mean, because for the first time, I think since I've been paying attention, especially with us starting the podcast and seeing, the increased numbers of diversity, I guess, across NFL and NBA, I think in ways that I haven't seen, but maybe I'm paying more attention now. But it's definitely encouraging. And when we had our auditions episode last week, there was that circular argument of, well, they don't show up to auditions and therefore it's really hard to pick from, a diverse team. But it's just, I think, really encouraging to hear your viewpoint on it, because I think for people who may be second guessing or looking at the current roster and debating whether they should try out for it or, if they're not what they're looking for, you just have to just bring your A game and
be yourself, be a best dancer, know? And
right. And I like that you said that too, because I used to argue that, not argue, like literally argue, but sort of have the position that it can be difficult when you see a group, like say you want to be on the basketball team, right? And everyone on that basketball team is a 6'10", a 6'10" player, right? And you're 5'5", and you're thinking, I don't have what they're looking for, right? Like I don't have the height that they're looking for, so I'm not going to go. But you don't really know who shows up. You haven't given them an opportunity to see you. I think the same thing about diversity, that oftentimes you have to think like maybe people are looking at this team and thinking we don't want them because we don't have anyone that looks like them, who is built like them in terms of shape, or strengths or flexibilities or body types or whatever it is you're thinking, but you haven't given us an opportunity to see you. And that doesn't mean that we don't want you. We just maybe haven't seen you or anyone like you, right? Yeah. We're not trying to exclude. I can only speak for my program. We are not trying to exclude. We are interested and welcoming, and we want people to come. And so I try to be positive and encouraging when whoever comes, whatever they look like this is what we're looking for in terms of talent, performance, showmanship. That's what we're looking for. The package is the package.
Yeah. That's super cool.
We just are obsessed with the way that you run your program down there. I mean,
Sweet. Super sweet.
No, it's just, I mean, so highly respected. The people that we've talked to that have danced under you, just, you're so well respected. And I just think it says a lot from top down how a program's run, and it shows in the ladies and how they carry themselves, and you just feel it. So I just want to say kudos to you for just being so wonderful. Seriously.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, I'm trying really hard. I mean, that's for sure. I ask a lot for my dancers, and I'm trying really hard to do a good job. I care about them more as individuals and women than I do about like all the other stuff. So I'm trying to do a good job. I want it to be fun for them. I want it to be a good program for them. I want them to want to come back and or send their friends or be able to talk to people like you and say good things. Yeah. And I'm always learning too. I don't always get it right, but I'm willing to change and to do things a little bit differently every year, slightly, to adjust, to make sure that it's a positive place for people to be.
Well, especially because of the year that I think, I mean, we're happy that the year is behind us in terms of just like all the horrible articles that were out, both for NFL and NBA. And
for sure.
It was definitely a breath of fresh air to hear about the way that you run the program and the rules and the lack of rules around certain things that we were just very surprised, and to be able to have a great, successful program and people who are happy doing it and having a great experience, and that wasn't always reflected in the articles.
For sure. I know those are really hard to hear. Those really, I mean, hard to hear about or read about. Like you said, I want it to be fun.
Yeah.
It should be fun. I mean, it's hard. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, a piece of cake, people are working
make hard decisions. I mean, have you ever had to cut a vet or not bring him back onto the team and navigate that? We have. And I always say that auditions are my favorite time as a dancer, not as a coach. As a dancer, it's like my favorite time because there's so much talent in one place, and to just get to watch it all day and people learning and just killing material, and we have solos, and I'm just like, oh wow, look it. It's just so much fun to see because everyone is talented, right? And then it's also the hardest because you have to make those kinds of decisions with your judges and looking at scores, and it's hard because you do build a relationship with people over a year or the years. And it's really hard when it comes to having to make decisions like that. And even with dancers who have never been on the team, who you've just watched go through the process and really commit themselves to the process and really be doing their best and not to make it, is not like, in my mind and heart, it's not like you don't make it, don't really care. That's not at all. Yeah.
That
you feel for them.
Yes. And that may be what it feels like. They think that the directors or judges felt like that about them, but it's not. You just, like my boss and I, my game ops director and I laugh every year, pretty much every year, because I'm always like, well, if you would just let me take every year, it's just like one more person, right? Whatever my number is. I'm like, if I could just have 19, it would be so much better. Like, look how we would look on the court. Because then we can, he's like, whatever, you have 17. Like, just 17.
That's
like,
the
just
number.
simmer down, right? And I'm like, oh, I know. But every year. And then at one point he was like, guess what? You get 17. I'm like, hallelujah.
One more.
Better. One more, just one more, right? But yeah, so I don't feel, it is hard. It is really hard. And if ever I've had to, or when I've had to let go of a vet, I've always done my best to, I want to say I'm 100% sure I've called every single one of them that day to talk about it and make sure that they know it's never personal.
Yeah.
It's for us, it's not a personal decision. We don't like you. It's just, people get beat, and it's really hard to say. And that sometimes isn't even a reflection of how talented you are for a year. Sometimes that weekend, that day, you just,
it's an off day.
I mean, like, it really is just that.
Yeah.
And you have to be fair to the process and respect what the judges are seeing and judging. And then it puts me in a really difficult position.
Right.
Because it's my fault, good or bad, right? You make it, I get the win. If you don't, you hate me.
Exactly.
And so that makes it one of my least favorite times, because I can't just, be happy for the 17 that make it. I have to think about how other people feel and how disappointed they are. So it's very hard, especially someone that I know and have worked with and had on the team.
Yeah.
So.
Dang, I just brought it down like all negative, but it's like
but it's a part of it.
Ask a director, you know, like you said, you build relationships, but I feel like I have a conspiracy that with our team, it truly wasn't, the judges' votes didn't really count, honestly. I feel like our director truly picked, and even if the numbers reflected something else, if she didn't agree with it, I think she would switch her decision. So it sounds like you truly take in like a comprehensive judge's vote. Which it should be. I don't know. It's a conspiracy, like I said.
Well, I mean, I've been to those auditions, I think twice, but both times that I went, or any time, right, I don't know enough about the program, the individual dancers, the overall I don't know any of that. All I see is what I get to see on social media and the one or two games that I've been to. I'm just like, oh, that person's great. That's great. That's great. So I wouldn't know. Like, I have no behind the scenes to confirm or say, yeah, that's probably what, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens there. It just was a good experience to watch and see something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Our audition's a little bit different than that. And what the big thing is that we don't announce right there. But it's hard. I do listen to the judges for sure. I trust the experts that we bring in, the dancers that we bring in, and or teachers, choreographers that come in and listen to their opinions very carefully.
Yeah.
I really do. It matters. A lot of things matter. A lot more matters than that 1 minute. How well you do. It's like how you stand there, your confidence, and, it's kind of funny. All the little things that you see to play into it. But conspiracy theory, I don't know. I don't know. It's a really hard position. I honestly have had someone email me before and say, because someone didn't make it, that they thought should have made the team. And so someone emailed me and said, I knew the person that was emailing me. I think we danced together. She said, I don't really know what you're looking for. I don't get it. This person is the most talented person, such a heart of gold, et cetera, et cetera. And, I just don't understand what you could possibly be thinking, end of like, and I'm done with the program kind of thing. Right. And I don't think they meant it to be nasty, but they really didn't understand, right? They didn't understand. And I don't know if they watched the whole process or if they just knew how good that person was. Right. And then randomly, maybe 2 years later, that person was a judge for me. I had invited them to come and judge because they had expertise, and it wasn't because of that email. It's nothing. I kind of forgot about it. And that person sat there, and I remember we had this really good sort of moment where we locked eyes at the end, and she said, "This is hard."
I get it now.
And she said, "I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it." She just kind of said, this is hard. Like, how do you how you watch all this awesomeness from beginning to end critically now, not just as a fan, critically because you're judging. And how do you just take 16 or 17? She was like, here is my paper. Goodbye. And it was really sweet. It was really and I felt like, oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you so much for just getting it. And knowing that I'm not out to get that person, even though it's 2 years later, I was not out to get that person it's just hard. It's just hard.
I think dancers and people going to auditions need to hear that. And so that they can truly just go have fun and be like, I'm just going to bring the best that I can and not take it personal. Like, of course you're disappointed, but you shouldn't let that refrain you from dancing and trying out again,
Right.
You should just know it's a hard decision for everyone.
It is. I'm still in awe too, just with our finals, you're dancing two at a time, but I always want all the shine and all the spotlight in terms of if I'm performing,
she's greedy too, right?
There's that battle where it's like, oh my gosh, what if they're not watching me when I'm killing it? And you have to block all that out. But from the judge's perspective, I would be stressed trying to give equal attention to each character performing, and God forbid there's 3 of them instead of 2 or however.
And that's what we do, 3.
Right.
God forbid. Yeah. God forbid. Yes. There's 3.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody gets to do a solo, but we dance 3 at a time. Okay. Yeah. But you're right though. It is a lot. What if I mess up and the judges look at me for that little 2 counts that I had a misstep, right? But again, we try to stress to our judges. It's, a mistake is I'm not looking for perfection. We're looking for great performers and people who live in the moment and, that you're just drawn to, that you're drawn to that fun. The other thing I would say is there's so much easier nowadays is do your research. If you want to try out for a pro team, you should do your research. It's so easy to look online and see what teams are looking for. Even with the 2 teams that we're not super close. We're not next door to each other, but the Blazer Dancers and the Sea Gals are two pro teams. Both are awesome teams, and they're different. They're different, and you might be awesome for the Blazer Dancers and not the best fit for Sea Gal. You might not be what they're looking for, or have maybe flexibility is super important, that you have really high kicks, where maybe Blazer Dancers, you don't really need that, right? You don't really see that. I don't know, but like, just kind of check it out. Do your homework, show up prepared for what they do. If you've never taken a hip hop class in your life, coming to a Blazer Dancer audition is going to be really difficult for you. Yeah. It doesn't mean you have to be the best at it, but if you've never taken it, it maybe isn't going to work out so well for you. But maybe, and I don't know if this is true or not, maybe Sea Gals don't do any.
We don't do enough.
Yeah, we don't. When we see girls trying to do hip hop, I'm like, what's going on? Like, it's
right.
Sometimes it's bad. It depends on the group.
It was so fun when you came up because it was a different
style.
Kind of pop, right? Like a little bit.
Yeah, it was fun.
And so, you know, but like maybe you look at that and say, like, I really want to dance professionally. I'm a strong performer. I'm not really great at hip hop. So maybe NFL is for you. Maybe the Sea Gals, not every NFL team, but maybe this is, maybe I have a better shot here because I'm going to be weak in this area. Or if I just really want to do Blazers, then I'm going to keep working on what they do. And I've said over the years, I've had dancers say, oh, well, like I was on Sea Gals, but maybe I want to do Blazers, or I'm on Blazers. I might, you know, like Lisa, I might go try to dance for the NFL. Sure. Why wouldn't you? Like, why would I have any sort of strange feeling about, like, I'm all about you. I'm team Lisa. I'm team whoever you are, that wherever you want to go dance. It doesn't mean that I have hard feelings. Like, good for you. Go do that. Go do that for whatever reason. And if somebody who used to be a Sea Gal wants to be able to, please come join our program. That's also great. You know, like whatever works, whatever you think is the best fit for you is the best fit. It's going to work out the best. So just do your homework, kind of check things out and see what looks like it would be a good fit or what you would excel at, I think. Yeah.
So kind of taking it full circle. Now I'm like having questions before, but what was your dance training prior to doing Blazers?
So I only danced ever. Like that was my sport ever. Yeah. Super lucky to have found it young. So I started when I was like 5 or 6 years old in a neighborhood studio that was just owned by this family, which is really cool. And I think I was if my mother were around, she would tell you that I was a super active kid. And so she kind of tried music, and that didn't work very well. I don't know why. And then like she tried, you know, some other sports. I played soccer for like one game. And softball, I think also for one game. I have a memory. One game, didn't last long. And then she took me to dance and maybe put me in 2 classes. And all I remember is having 2 classes first and then going on Saturdays at like 9 a.m. and not leaving until they closed, and just taking everything from like jazz and tap and ballet to baton twirling and hula dance, like just everything. Cool. Like it didn't matter.
Give it to me.
Yeah, I was like, okay, next class, next. I mean, like it was different. Times are different, but I just loved everything about it. So I found my thing really early. And then I was lucky enough to go to Portland Public Schools has arts programs. And so my middle school started to offer dance. So I also never took PE. So I took dance was my physical education because it was offered in school. And then I went to a performing arts high school in Portland called the Jefferson Dancers. And that is still concert dance. So you get jazz, ballet, like point, African dance, everything. Hip hop, you just get everything. It was like, to me, it was like a mini Fame. It was a mini, like, it was kind of like that school. They had theater and music and all this stuff. And the program it still exists. So the dance program was amazing. I went off to college, and when I came back from college is when my mom encouraged me to try out for the Blazer Dancers. And at the time I thought, well, I have all this training, right? I never thought about, because again, I couldn't see it on there was no internet, or like, you just didn't see it. So I never saw myself as like a Lakers dancer or a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. I just didn't think about it. Yeah. And she said, they have this new dance group with the Trailblazers. You should try out. And I thought, I don't know, Mom. I don't know if that's my thing, you know. And then I thought it was easy, because I went to one game and watched them dance twice and thought, that is so easy. Like, I don't even know if that'll be fun. Right. I don't remember what they did. I told my coach that too. But then I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm back in Portland. I'm going to do it. And tried out. And I remember thinking the first day, like, this is hard. What was I thinking? This is hard. And these girls are so good. All these dancers are amazing. Like, this is not what I thought it was. Yeah. And then I was like dying to do it. Like, oh my God, I just really want to make it, you know? So anyways, and then I ended up being in the program. So super lucky. Yeah. Super lucky to be in it and dance. And now I teach at high school dance camp called Thunderbird. And I teach at Thunderbird. I've been there for like 25 years.
Wow.
And I choreographed for a bunch of I coached a high school dance team for years, but I think the way people have seen me for the last 12 years or so with Blazers and having started my family and having 2 kids, it's hard for me to do much outside of Blazers because we have practices in the evening and games and camps and all that kind of stuff. So whenever I'm not doing Blazers, I'm at my kids' games and juggling. They both play like 3 different sports, and so I don't get to do a lot of other stuff like I would like to, choreography and all that stuff like we talked about at the beginning. So I try to keep my life a little bit balanced, but teaching is really fun. Yeah. I miss that.
Gosh, as a mother of 2, I don't have near as many responsibilities leading a team in the NBA, but I'm just.
But you work. Yeah. You just have that's juggling, right?
That's juggling. I mean, I'm sure you're such an amazing example for your girls as how to have it all. I mean, do you believe that? Like, you can have it all.
I do. You know, I haven't really thought about it that way, but thank you. Yeah. Yes, I do. I try to be everywhere all the time. Even today, just juggling their sports. We had a dance clinic that I didn't get to do all of. So my awesome captains, Lindsay and Natalie, and all of our awesome dancers taught like 115 kids today. Wow. And they're going to perform at a game this week, which I'm super excited about, to see that clinic performance. Normally my kids go to those games. They've been going to those clinics for years. But today, one had a basketball tournament game, the end of her season, which they won. Woohoo, go Wildcats. Yay. And then my oldest daughter had her first outdoor soccer game of the season. And it is freezing cold outside.
It is. It's sunny, but it's cold.
Exactly. I cried the whole game, just tears streaming down my face from just the cold. But she also won her game, Go Saints, 1-0. And guess who scored that goal?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, my baby girl. Yeah, so it was a good day.
And now you're recording a podcast.
Yes, right?
Thank you for your time.
I still have work to do. No, this is great. It's great to talk to you guys. I love my job. I love my work, and so talking to you guys is super fun.
Yeah, what an
awesome
to just
life. An extension. Yeah. It is. I'm lucky. I'm lucky to get to do what I love.
Yeah.
Really lucky.
Well, they're lucky to have you too.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Catch you up and bring you up here if we could.
Okay.
As soon as we get an NBA team, no.
Do it. I will come and help. Do whatever I can. I'll be like, can I help, please? Can I come up and I don't know, do something? I'd love to.
Get them situated. Well, we end every episode with locker talk, which
okay. Gosh,
I'll spare you some of the things that we shared last week. The first, oh gosh, but
anything stuff.
Oh, God. Well, just to give you a flavor, last week we ended up talking about our audition, not necessarily mishaps, nightmares. I
ripped a hole in my shorts, I was going to say some
wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah. So I was like, what am I going to do? Things like that. So embarrassing or kind of like behind the scenes things. Do you have anything you want to divulge?
We've definitely, well, I have not had a wardrobe malfunction, thank the Lord, personally. And I always, when I think something is going to happen with my teams, I'm literally praying, please don't let anything. Yes. Well, I just don't want anybody to be embarrassed. I think more like today, these days, that everyone would see it, right? Someone would be recording or, I just don't want to see anybody embarrassed further than the actual problem itself, right? The only thing that I can think of right off is one of my most embarrassing moments dancing with the Blazers was my rookie year. You're laughing already.
No, well, because all your mistakes happen in your rookie year. You don't know what's going on.
Right, you don't know what's going on. And we still do this to this day where we have this opening night halftime where each dancer is introduced and they kind of do a solo.
Cool.
Right. So it's real quick though. It's like an 8 count, right? Everyone's out there. You've maybe danced for a minute and then it's Blazer dancer Brittany, Blazer dancer Mhkeeba, you know what I mean? They just go through. And back in those days, we did not dance any preseason games or anything until opening night. So it was really literally my first performance, as a Blazer dancer. At halftime. We didn't even come out in the beginning of the game. They let us wait till halftime. It's like,
wow.
So much adrenaline and crazy stuff going on in my head. So anyway, so actually, you know what? I take that back. Let me just rewind. This time, we did not dance for a minute first. We danced out onto the court. So it was like Blazer Dancer Michelle, here she comes, and then she dances out and then goes to her formation, which was a line down center court. So we came out one at a time. So they introduced me and I fell. All by myself, only person dancing. I kind of did this layout and I didn't fall all the way to the ground, but I fell. It was clear that I fell and stumbled and hilarious. And then I had to dance, right? And then my friend who was a rookie, we're still really good friends to this day. Our kids are around each other. Anyway, so same thing happened to her. She was doing Sinead turns and like did these Sineads all the way down to the ground. She just slowly.
They probably thought it was part of it. Like, yes, that's right.
Listen, you know? We cried laughing about it. And then, all the other dancers were like, oh, it's no big deal. Like nobody saw it. Yes, they did. The camera was following me. It was on the big screen. It was only me. They said my name, right? The whole thing. But then somewhere in my mind, I just wanted to believe it. So the next day, me and said friend are at the mall. And again, I am just now a Blazer dancer. Yes, put your hand over your head. And this person looks at one of us. I don't even remember which one of us. Looks at one of us and said, you're a Blazer dancer. Are you a Blazer dancer? Right? Looks at her or me, whatever. And the other one, we're kind of like, cause we've never had this experience. And then the friend of his says, you are, looks at the other one like me and goes, you are, I saw you fall last night.
Oh no.
Stop it right now. Oh my God.
But it literally,
funny.
But it's the truth. We did. We fell. We still laugh about it to this day. But
that's awesome.
And I tell my dancers that. I'm like, I fell. When they're like, oh my God, I made a mistake. I missed that part. I'm like, well, at least you didn't fall when they said your name. So just keep it moving. You're fine. Keep it moving. Okay, moving on. Like, it could be worse. Awesome. It could be worse. Yeah.
That's like
I had a rookie. We were dancing in, I think we had shorts on, and then we had these skirts with Velcro over them. It's kind of not a regular uniform, but a costume. It's like a schoolgirl skirt, sort of an extra accessory. And we were doing this whole dance, and her skirt was falling from the very beginning of the dance. And I just kept thinking, please have your shorts on underneath, please. Because this 1 minute dance lasted what felt like an eternity. And I just felt like everyone was watching her. And literally at the very end of the dance, it fell off. It just fell off on the floor.
Was she wearing
shorts on?
Okay,
yes.
Good.
Yes, but still she was mortified. We just all had to laugh. And she was like, well, and all she could say was, Coach told me to pin my skirt and I didn't listen. She was like, you told me to pin my skirt. Because we were like, we don't know about that Velcro. We're not sure. Mm-hmm. She had on shorts. Thank goodness. But it was still super embarrassing because it was like this whole minute of waiting for it to fall. Because you could see that it was getting looser and looser. And she was such a great sport about it. She just laughed at the end of the dance and waved at everybody, picked up her skirt. And it's like, and goodbye. We're all done now.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, this is silly little things that happen, but.
Well, your choreography is so intricate. It's not like you can kind of adjust
during
dance and kind of get it together. There have been times where you just got to kind of shove it back in.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Or you do the check mid. You're just like, am I out? I don't know.
It feels like,
whatever. Keep it going.
Want to dance, right? You try to keep your costumes supportive enough so that dancers can dance and not have to worry about them, right? But sometimes there's just stuff you're like, shoot, this one feels like it doesn't fit me right, or, just whatever. There's always that one uniform that you just feel a little out of sorts in. So we try to keep stuff comfortable. We are blessed with great choreographers. That's for sure. We get to work with some really great people that kind of get us, and I feel really lucky to count them as friends now too. So it's really good. They know I think the longer you're in it, we go to camp, we go to Pro Action Dance, and they're fantastic, but I have some relationships with choreographers. They've become my friends through working together that come out and give us just great material for our own mini camps that really, I just think they get us, that highlight us. I mean, they're great choreographers in their own right, but they give us material that we execute well. So then we just look better. Right? Yeah. It's not just any dance. It's like, it's for us. Like, it works for us.
And it feels almost like a style thing. Like, I don't know if it's Shannon or Shandon.
Shandon with a D.
Yeah.
Shandon Perez. Yeah.
I love her choreography.
Yeah.
I love the
sassy.
choreography. Yeah.
And she's sassy, and she does a lot of stuff for lots of teams, and she teaches at camp, so you'll see her material kind of everywhere. But also she's, one of those people I consider a friend. So when she and I talk about her coming to Portland or choreographing something for us, it's definitely she gets us. She knows what we're good at, right? She knows probably what our weaknesses are and what our strengths are, and she gives us something that we can deliver, you know, like we can execute it well, you know, and that's different from year to year. So she pays attention to us. So that helps us look better in the end, right? So maybe last year we were really good at this, but this year, oh, look at this new team. We're even better at this. We could do something we couldn't do last year, maybe. And so now you can kind of give us that little extra in a different direction. So
super cool.
Same with Mina Ortega. We have a great relationship with her too. And Oscar Hernandez, some really good people. Yeah, you love Oscar. Yeah, he's fun.
Do you give them songs that you want them to choreograph to, or do you just tell them, like, I'm looking for something a little sassy, or how do you give direction?
Sometimes I start with going to camp. We go to Pro Action. And when I come home from Pro Action is when I take a couple dancers to that. Then we come back and we host our own camp. And so then that's when I start to say, oh, this is what I took from Pro Action. I got a lot of hip hop. So now I need some jazz or some sassy sort of routine. So then I kind of don't think about what I need until I see what I can take from that camp and then try to fill in gaps. Mina's good at everything. But for us, her straight arm jazz is like no other. And when she gives us something, I'm like, we look good. We look really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mina. I'm like, can you please give me this? But so sometimes, yes. Sometimes I'll hear a song that I love and I think about who moves well to that kind of music in terms of choreographers. And so then we'll talk about songs before they come. And sometimes I just trust them to pick because they know. I just say, give me a rock and roll jazz. I'll see you at camp. You know, like talk to Shandon, make sure you're not bringing the same song. And then I don't really care. And I let it go because again, they know us. Like I think they have the freedom. They get it. Mina, she's always really good for like a house mix, songs I've never even heard of. And if I was always trying to direct her, I wouldn't get, there's a routine that we do called Boom that I think is really popular this year. I've never heard of that song. But she taught us that and I was like, oh wow. This is fun. And when people see it, they seem to really like it. I don't know what it is about it, but it's just something a little different. But we like it. And I think some teams maybe don't want to do house, right? Maybe it doesn't work in their market. So you have all these different reasons for, you know, why you would or wouldn't. But I love it when she gives us that material.
Yeah.
So. My last question, I guess.
Sure.
Please tell me with the way that you guys kill it every game. Because, you know, at Seahawks games, because maybe the stadium, the fans are so far away, we look like ants. We'll dance our butts off and we're done. And we're like, you know, ta-da, and there's just...
Ta-da.
Bring it on, like silence, you know?
Right.
I mean, they clap, but it's not, I'm just hoping, and it's different with NBA, right? But please tell me that your fan base responds and appreciates what you guys do on game day. Like, you get a reaction.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Sometimes, I think it ebbs and flows. I think sometimes we have to think about, I mean, I'm just guessing, like we kind of study this stuff too and do surveys, but I think sometimes it depends on how the team is doing. So that creates a mood in the building, right? So not just that night, but it could be that night. It could be a sequence of games that were doing really well. And then I think it ebbs and flows. Like some years it's really great and other years it seems kind of quiet. And when it's really quiet, I'll think like, what dance did we just do? Do I really want to do that dance again? Did it work? Do we want to not do that one again or change something? But lately I've noticed what I think is an uptick in response. Like I can hear people clapping. I think the dancers can hear it. And, you know, cause you're kind of out there and you can't really hear. You're kind of in your own head for a second, like just trying to operate and do your job and move where you're supposed to. But I've noticed that the clapping has been louder, or the response has been positive, which is really encouraging. And it's tricky too, because music selection is important. Like I think our fans like a mix of music, and lately we've done more hip hop because that's what's popular music right now. So it's kind of tricky. So then we have to dig a little deeper to get some jazz music for jazz routines, because everything on the radio is not. So it's like, we need a jazz routine. Like we can't, I can't find anything new to do a jazz routine to, because everything is making you kind of go to that hip hop or just kind of a different way. So it's kind of tricky. So I try to figure out what people like or respond to and do it again, you know, or something similar if we can. So it's hard. Hopefully you guys get to see it soon and tell us what you think about crowd response, or, you know, how that connects for you from sitting out. I'm usually down on the court when the girls dance lately. I kind of run down and record, so I can kind of hear what they hear, and I feel like it's a little bit like people are enjoying it overall.
Cool.
Well, they're spoiled with a very, very talented team, so.
Yep.
Yay. I think they don't know sometimes.
We'll be so loud.
Yeah. We were at Rosebuds. We were like screaming.
Oh my God,
They're like, you know them? I'm like, they're my friends. Yeah.
Yeah, they're my new best friends.
Yep.
So
Yeah, thanks again. It's so
Yeah,
nice
anytime.
to meet you.
Awesome.
Yay, thank you for coming.
Thanks for listening to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. Please subscribe, leave a comment, or review.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, all at Pro Cheerleading Podcast, and also on Twitter at Pro Cheer Podcast.
This is Brittany.
And Mhkeeba. Until next time.
Keep your eyes on the sidelines.